Friends, the crucial role of members of parliaments or MPs in democracies worldwide involves legislation and constituent advocacy. Various countries provide MPs with pension schemes to secure their finances after their term. We will compare MP pension schemes across the United Kingdom, United States, Canada, Australia, and India. We will discuss the controversies surrounding MP pensions in relation to corruption and accountability with detailed reference to India. There are several types of pension systems for MPs around the world. While differing in structure, MPs' pension plans worldwide aim to provide financial security post service. UK MPs take part in the Members' Pension Scheme. Under this plan, 13.75% of salary from MPs is matched by the government. Final salary and years of service are factors in calculating pension payments. The United States of America Congress members retire under Federal Employees Retirement System. This system offers a basic pension, social security benefits, and a savings plan. MPs in Canada are covered by the Parliamentary Pension Scheme. Their pension is based on the years served and the average salary of their 5 highest earning years. The government matches the MP's contribution of 6% of salaries. In Australia, the parliamentary superannuation system covers MPs with a 9.5% salary contribution matched by the government. Service length and their best 5 earning years determine their pension. In India, the 1954 Salary Allowances and Pension Act governs MPs' pensions. A government match of 8% of salary contributions is provided. The payouts are calculated based on service length and a 5-year salary average. The schemes safeguard MPs' finances against inflation following their retirement. What causes disqualification and expulsion of MPs? Accountability is a cornerstone of any parliamentary democracy. There are measures in place across nations to disqualify or expel members of parliament for misconduct or corruption. These actions aim to preserve the integrity of legislative institutions and reinforce ethical governance. In the United Kingdom, Claudia Webb, a Labour MP, was suspended in 2020 after being charged with harassment. She was found guilty in 2021, leading to calls for her resignation. Similarly, Jeremy Corbyn, the former Labour leader, was suspended over comments on anti Semitism within the party. But his membership was reinstated later. Nick Brown, a former chief whip, was suspended in 2022 because of an unspecified complaint. In the United States of America, George Santos was expelled in December 2023 for fraud and misuse of campaign funds. Similarly, James Traficant and Michael Myers were expelled in 2002 and 1980 respectively for bribery, racketeering and other criminal activities. Canada's Belinda Stronach was disqualified in 2005 for dual office holding. In Australia, David Gillespie was disqualified in 2017 for holding an office of profit under the Crown. Now, let us have a look at corruption and crime in Indian politics. And we will be going in detail. India has a notable history of disqualifications on corruption charges. Lalu Prasad Yadav was disqualified in 2013 for his involvement in the infamous fodder scam. J. Jayalalitha was disqualified in 2017 for holding disproportionate assets. Later, she was acquitted. More recently, Manoj Manzil and Mohammad Faisal in 2024 and 2023 respectively faced criminal convictions. Several high profile Indian politicians have serious criminal records that highlight the challenges of corruption and accountability in the political system of India. Most of these politicians have been dodging trials in the courts for years together. For example, BJP's Brij Bhushan Sharan Singh faces charges of sexual harassment and criminal intimidation. Again, Suresh Gopi of BJP is accused of cheating and breach of trust. RJD's Abhay Kushwaha has 16 criminal charges including rape and extortion. BJP's Shantanu Thakur faces 23 cases including kidnapping and crimes against women. The Commonwealth Games scam and the JMM bribery case created public furor but ended up with no convictions. In fact, all the main culprits were acquitted. According to the Association for Democratic Reforms or ADR, over 300 criminal cases against MPs have seen no action. This questions the fairness of granting pensions to such MPs. Indeed, why should they get the pensions when there are serious criminal charges against them? It also exposes the urgent need for reforms to address corruption and criminality in India's parliamentary system. However, three cases provide plenty of food for thought. First is the fodder scam conviction. In the history of Indian political corruption, the former Bihar Chief Minister Lalu Prasad Yadav stands out for more than one reason. His conviction for the fodder scam underlines the importance of the judiciary in making powerful politicians answerable for their actions. For 20 years, bureaucrats, politicians, and suppliers used fake invoices to steal public money. This became infamous as Bihar's Chara Ghotala or fodder scam. Multiple scam related convictions led to Lalu Prasad Yadav's 5-year prison sentence in 2013 under the IPC and Prevention of Corruption Act. This resulted in his instant disqualification as Member of Parliament. This case highlights how diligent judicial investigation and prosecution can maintain the integrity of public office. It also ensures that no one, regardless of rank, is above the law. But such happenings are rare in India. Political bigwigs and business czars often enjoy impunity in India. Then there was this disproportionate assets case. The former Tamil Nadu Chief Minister and AIADMK Chief Jayalalitha Jayaram faced charges of disproportionate assets. She and her associates allegedly accumulated wealth beyond their declared incomes during her first term as Chief Minister in 1991-1996. Prosecutors charged that she unlawfully amassed 66.65 crore rupees in assets, including luxury properties, jewelry, and cash. A Bengaluru Special Court's 2014 decision found Jayalalitha guilty. She was sentenced to a 4-year prison term and a 100 crore rupee fine. She was disqualified as an MLA under the Representation of the People Act 1951. Later, the Karnataka High Court acquitted her in 2015. This case highlighted the need for high ethical standards among leaders given their significant sway over public resources and decision making. The former BJP MP and former Wrestling Federation of India chief Brij Bhushan Sharan Singh faces multiple allegations of sexual harassment, assault, and criminal intimidation. Several female wrestlers accused him of abuse of power. The Delhi police filed charges under sections of the Indian Penal Code, including Section 354, which is assault or use of criminal force to outrage a woman's modesty, Section 354A, sexual harassment, and Section 354D, stalking. Despite the severity of the charges, Singh continues to escape going to prison. This case highlights the pervasive misuse of power and urgent need for legal reforms to ensure prompt and impartial dispensing of service of justice. The convictions of Lalu Prasad Yadav and Jayalalitha exemplify how a strong legal system enforces accountability. Conversely, the accusations against Brij Bhushan Sharan Singh highlight weaknesses in law enforcement and urgent need for reforms to tackle sexual misconduct within politics and elsewhere too. Why just politics? There are powerful people even outside political system, like for example our judiciary, etc. Unsurprisingly, pension for Indian MPs is rarely debated despite widespread corruption. Critics believe MPs with criminal charges or a history of corruption should be ineligible for pensions. So, what are the key arguments against pensions for members of parliament? Arguments against MP pensions highlight concerns about corruption, accountability, and public perception. Granting pensions to MPs with serious criminal records undermines public trust. This signals impunity for unethical behavior and eroding the integrity of democratic institutions. Many members of parliament engage in corruption, raising questions about the merit of providing lifelong financial benefits. In fact, pensions to such MPs are rewards for poor performance or misconduct, or both, which diminish accountability and appear to endorse incompetence. In nations grappling with poverty and inequality, high MP pensions fuel public resentment. Citizens perceive this as unjust, with elected officials enjoying lavish benefits while ordinary people face financial struggles. This disparity widens the disconnect between politicians and their constituents. So, it is essential to ensure that MP pensions are aligned with principles of justice and fairness, accountability, and public interest. So, what are the key arguments for MP pensions? Should pensions be given to all the members of parliament? Supporters of MP pensions argue that it is necessary to provide financial security after their tenure ends. This reduces the temptation for corrupt practices in office. MPs can focus on public service rather than personal financial gain through unethical means. Additionally, pensions attract capable and qualified individuals to politics by alleviating financial concerns. This motivates professionals to pursue governance roles. Quality leadership promotes institutional integrity and fosters long term democratic stability. A more effective and ethical political system comes into being. However, such arguments prove unrealistic as there is no limit to human avarice. Whether you give them pensions or not, if a person is corrupt, he will remain corrupt unless there is a very strong deterrence. So, how can corruption and criminality be addressed? Reforming MP pension systems and combating corruption demand a comprehensive strategy. A stricter legal system is required to quickly disqualify candidates facing serious criminal charges. This would enhance the integrity of public office by barring individuals with questionable backgrounds. Establishing fast track courts to handle cases involving politicians can ensure timely justice. Those accused of serious crimes will be prevented from exploiting lengthy trials to retain power. Expedited resolutions would enhance public trust in the judiciary. Electoral reforms are equally vital to reduce the influence of money in politics. Transparent campaign finance rules, stricter donation regulations, and spending limits would help curtail undue influence. This should create a fairer electoral system which gives precedence to voter choice over financial clout. Strengthening the Election Commission's independence is critical for impartial enforcement of election laws. The Election Commission and judiciary need greater autonomy, resources, and protection from political interference to ensure robust oversight of the democratic process and institutions. Public awareness is key to fostering a cleaner political environment. Civic education, transparency in candidate information, and voter awareness campaigns can empower citizens to make informed choices. This will help candidates with integrity and merit. A well informed electorate is less likely to support corrupt individuals. Thus, a political landscape rooted in accountability and ethical governance will become a reality. These measures can significantly enhance the credibility and fairness of democratic system.